Hey guys, it's Robert here for Basketball Zone covering the Raptors loss to the Boston Celtics 104-88, a blowout loss. Here are my three takeaways from tonight's loss. My first takeaway of the night is Scottie Barnes, right? We're going to start on a positive note. We're going to start with Scottie because Scottie looked unstoppable. And the Celtics have an elite defensive team. Marcus Smart is a former first defensive all-team guy. He's an incredible defender. Jason Tatum is no slouch. Josh Richardson is no slouch defensively. And Robert Williams and Al Horford present an imposing inside presence. And frankly, it didn't really matter because at this point, when Scottie Barnes catches the ball within 10 feet of the basket, that's one step and a dunk, one step and a layup, one step and a hook shot. And he's pretty crafty and very efficient. He missed a couple of bunnies tonight. I'm not going to lie. He definitely missed a couple of bunnies tonight, but still finished 7 for 11 from the field. Very efficient night. Got to the line 8 times. I don't think a Raptor has gotten to the line 8 times this season, but he attacked hard. Again, finished the game. 21 points, 7 boards, 4 assists. Nice all-around game from Scottie Barnes. Most impressive thing tonight, probably apart from the fact that he was the only Raptor big, we'll call him a big right now, who tried to do anything about the Celtics bigs attacking the offensive glass. I think the most impressive thing was just watching him cover full court. Saw him do it a lot at Florida State, but seeing him cover Dennis Schroeder full court and not get lost and not have to, not get blown by, require help, seeing his rotations, there were possessions where this man literally tried to guard 4 guys in the same possession. He just rotate. His activity level is absolutely insane. I realize sometimes he does make mistakes. Had a couple of those turnovers after sitting for a very extended period of time, obviously being overly aggressive in the fourth quarter when he finally checked in. There was a funny moment tonight, and I want to share it with you here, where I logged onto RealGM, and I'm an ex-member of RealGM, and I wanted to see what people were saying about Scottie Barnes and the Raptors in general as this blowout loss was underway. And right around 8 minutes into the fourth quarter, there were like 4 posts that said, "Nurse, what are you doing? Why is your best player on the bench?" And Pascal Siakam was on the floor. So yeah, that's just a subtle little thing. We didn't know how many months it would take before a lot of fans started to believe that Scottie Barnes was in fact the best player on this team, but apparently it didn't even take 1 month because talent is obvious, and right now there just isn't a lot that any defense can do other than hope that he just drops the ball or, I mean, I would argue that once his thumb isn't bothering him anymore, you're going to see that touch return close to the paint, and as that shot gets together, I mean, Raptor fans, there's so much to be hopeful for with this guy, and he got a chance to initiate the ball out of the post. You saw the double team, right? You can't guard this guy single coverage in the post. It's a straight line drive, and this is why he needs to be your first option, because really, Scottie Barnes in the mid post is the only action that 100% requires a double team for the opposing team. So, and he's a great passer. So you saw a little bit of that tonight. Hopefully, when the Raptors study the tape, they'll see how much more effective he is in those situations than Pascal Siakam. And hopefully we can see Pascal Siakam go to more of a finisher role in this offense. We're going to talk about Pascal Siakam in my second takeaway. So my second takeaway of the night is that Pascal Siakam is affecting the offense and defense in very negative ways. And he did have a slightly better second half than first half, but the Raptors were pretty much out of the game for most of the second half because of the holes that they dug in the first half. And I would argue that they just don't look right with him on the court. They just don't. I mean, we did a video for Basketball Zone where we said this 3-headed front court of Pascal, Scottie, and OG was going to be absolutely unstoppable. And it still has that potential to be completely unstoppable, but part of that upside came on defense. And right now, Pascal Siakam is absolutely lost. So it's one thing to be rusty off of shoulder surgery and, come in and have a bit of a shooting slump as you adjust your hand. I get that. I completely understand that. That's rust. It's another thing to just show absolutely no awareness for offense or defense. We're talking 4 turnovers, right? We're talking 8 points. We're talking no rebounds in that first stint when he was playing, and the Boston Celtics hammered us on the inside. It's just demoralizing, guys. You have a franchise player who comes back into the fold. Obviously, guys feel a certain amount of pressure that he's the moneymaker. You have a point guard who's saying, that's our franchise guy. So you do feel a certain pressure to give this guy the ball. And perhaps in years past, it was, Spicy's just adjusting. But now he's had 3 years at this point to view these kind of coverages of double teams, etc. This is not like OG where there's still that upside of, okay, guys, give it a few more weeks. He's only seen this a few times. No, this has been 3 years or 2.5 years now for Siakam, seeing these double teams, seeing these coverages from defenses, and he hasn't really adjusted. He's never really found a way to exploit that double team, and he hasn't really found a way to get past his man when that first move is stopped. So tonight we saw that slick little, going downhill action where he did that spin, turn away, left hand layup. And everyone's like, that's classic Spicy P. And it's like, that is classic Spicy P. I have shades of him doing that against Golden State like 5 times every single game in the finals. But at some point, if you're a primary option, you have to become more than a rim runner. And if that's what he is, then that's going to have to be his role on offense. So at this point, I'm not really sure. I mentioned it in my last video. I don't really think that there's anything tangible that you can take away from a guy who's out of shape and just trying to get himself back into things. But I will say this. The offensive spacing with him has been almost as atrocious as Precious Achiuwa. The downside here is that Achiuwa's activity level, at the very least, was getting you a little bit more movement. He was trying to set picks. I caught 3 possessions tonight where Siakam just literally sat in the corner the entire play, like 22 seconds, or 20 seconds, just sat in the corner, did absolutely nothing. And he's not really a threat out there. I don't think Boston is going to kick themselves if they leave him open for a 3. So he just doesn't have much gravity. And then, of course, when he's trying to call his own number in the post, he's getting pushed out very, very, very far, not sealing hard enough. And that sort of stagnates your entire offense because it's kind of one side of the floor is just congested with this one guy trying to get a touch. And then when he gets the touch, there's not really very much he can do with it, right? Because he's not really much of a threat off the bounce to score 22 feet away from the basket, which is where he's catching a lot of these touches. And frankly, he's not really strong enough. I mean, I'm not saying the guy's bad at basketball, but right now he's pretty bad at basketball. So I don't think that he's really helping much on offense. I would like to see his minutes go down until he can kind of catch a rhythm. This is not Spicy P hate. He is our max player. I have every vested interest. I have a strong vested interest in him recovering and being better than he's shown. But so far, it has not looked good. It seems all the guards are having trouble penetrating because he's constantly bringing his man towards the basketball. And he's not a great pick setter. He never has been. Just doesn't have that strong base. Not a great post player. There's really not a lot he can do right now. And I very strongly am hoping, at least, that he decides to become a very poor man's Karl Anthony Towns. Like a smaller poor man's Karl Anthony Towns where he just parks outside and takes threes. Or a Kevin Love type. I realize that those guys are phenomenal rebounders and Siakam is not that. But at least on offense, I would like to see him just space the floor off the top, get a lot of looks in early transition as a trailer. I just don't see the upside of running an offense through this guy. I've watched it for 2 years. And again, guys, like I've been a big hater, okay, of DeMar DeRozan-centric offenses and Chris Bosh-centric offenses or Jalen Rose-centric offenses. Yeah, we've seen some pretty ugly offenses in the Raptors' history. Pascal Siakam offenses rank up as probably the worst to watch. Like, they're really bad. So I would like to see them move off of that and, maybe move him more to a finisher role, as I alluded to in my last point. See a little bit more Scottie Barnes in the post, OG, maybe even Gary Trent and Fred VanVleet, scissor action, pin downs, get them coming off. I just want to see a little bit more movement. I saw more movement tonight. There were a lot of positive moments, but just the defense was so overwhelmingly bad. The energy level was just terrible. My third point of the night is that Fred VanVleet played a damn near perfect game. I mean, apart from 2 boneheaded layup attempts and apart from the fact that he didn't shoot very well, he shot under 40%. Again, I would say he played a really good game. And people are going to look at the stats and be like, he had a horrible game, Rob. What are you talking about? He turned the ball over. He only had 6 assists. I think he played a great game. I was really critical of Fred VanVleet that he needs to give the ball up a little bit more and allow the offense to go through someone else. Now, you might say, well, Rob, he gave up the ball and they lost, so maybe we need to go back to pound ball. No, we absolutely do not, because the offense flows a lot better when Scottie Barnes has the ball. I made this point in a very long video on Pensare Films, and I'm going to make this point here tonight again. Fred VanVleet is not an elite initiator. He is a hybrid initiator who can do it sometimes, like he did with Pascal Siakam, and also with Kyle Lowry last year. But this is not a guy that you just hand the ball to, like Ja Morant or Damian Lillard or people like that, or Steve Nash. Is just not going to be a pretty thing. And you know what? He surprised me tonight. He passed the ball up in transition instead of dribbling it up. Ball moves faster in the air than it does in someone's hands. And frankly, he made smart reads tonight. I mean, honestly, even if it didn't always work out, the intention was there. I think he had 1 turnover in transition where I'm like, great pass. Like, the intention was great there. I think Scottie also had one like that. So again, like, this is just, it's slowly adjusting, guys. We're getting, also, by the way, OG Anunoby, those 2 assists. Go back and watch the highlights, man. He had that wraparound 3, that pass driving to the and he passed it to, I believe it was Fred VanVleet. Yeah, it was Fred VanVleet. And then he had that wraparound pass to Scottie Barnes for the dunk. Who said OG can't pass? OG showed something amazing. He hadn't really looked like himself offensively since Siakam's comeback, but he showed me some serious playmaking skills tonight. And again, he got trapped in a double team. Yes, I will agree. It doesn't always look pretty, but we just weren't seeing this last year. And so the development is slow, but it is coming. And I think that by mid-season, hopefully, if this team stays intact and Siakam is not traded or Fred VanVleet's not traded, I don't think OG or Barnes are going anywhere. I hope that this team will look a lot better once they have some time to gel. I will add that the Raptors defense is extremely difficult. It's a very complicated thing. And it's one thing to ask Marc Gasol to learn it. It's another thing to ask Precious Achiuwa to learn it. It's just not that easy, guys. So we're seeing it, right? They're building it up slowly. The offense, same thing. Tonight, probably saw more movement on offense than I've seen all season, right? It just didn't always work out. Celtics obviously had this game circled after the blowout. They just came out. They were at home. Probably had a bit of a lenient whistle on their side. They just wanted it more. I hate that as a sports cliche. They just wanted it more. But if you watch this game, I think you can tell the Celtics wanted this game a lot more. And, encouraging game for Scottie Barnes. At this point, here's the thing. I'm going to be upset if Scottie Barnes has a bad game and we lose. If Scottie Barnes has a good game and the ball goes through him and we lose that way, I'm chill about it, right? Because this is not a championship contending season. This is a development season for sure. It'd be great to get into the playoffs and get some reps that way. This is a team that's on the rise, guys. So stay patient, stay with it, and go Raptors. Peace.